educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. All right, let's go ahead and open up that Zoom room. Let the people in out of the waiting room. And hello, everybody. No matter where you're at, you are important. And please realize that you are also empowered to make decisions when it comes to your own health. And today we are super excited to have Pharmacist Fridays here on Daily with Doc. My name is Becca Dukes, as the hostess of this program, a trainer for the Critical Health News team, Daily with Doc team, and also the Director of Student Services for the Institute of Holistic Health. It is my honor and privilege to be able to present to you all around the world information that you can put in your toolbox to help yourself find a better health journey. So we are a resource for an amazing community of individuals who care about you as well. So if somebody cared enough to take the time to share this program with you, we want to make sure that you get back with them. Like I said, they took the time, they cared enough. Chances are they are one of our amazing health advocates, health coaches, so many different titles of people who are incorporated amongst our family, who are sharing what they have found to be solutions to problems that they themselves have even had, or even, the best way to maintain fantastic health. Because I know that there are some of you out there that are in fantastic health, thinking that you are invincible. Well, folks, I used to think I was invincible. But then I also thought that everybody had pain. So, hey, there's always room for improvement, and we are here to help guide you in finding what we have found to be the best solutions to help us on our health journey. Today, one more thing. If nobody invited you, you found us on your own, then feel free. We've got an amazing call team of certified holistic health coaches who are ready to help those who have never ordered any other products, never spoken to anybody or heard about any of our guests that we have on our program, whether it's Pharmacist Ben, Dr. Joel Wallach, Dr. Taylor Mitchell, Dr. Joanne Conway, Dr. Laura Dennison, The list just goes on and on. Yolanda and Raymond Brown. We have some amazing people in this family. So if somebody has shared with you about them, make sure that you get back with that person that shared. Otherwise, Daily with Doc team, 855-949-3377. Now, today is Pharmacist Friday. And on Pharmacist Fridays, we have a pharmacist who has been in the industry for a few decades. Let's just say a few decades. I don't want him to feel old because he looks great. And that's the benefit of great nutrition, folks. We don't have to, age and then show our age. But with this particular pharmacist, he actually got fired from one of the big box stores because he was recommending nutrition. He found the value in nutrition and how it was better than the chemicals. And if you want a full 30 minutes on that, make sure that you look up Pharmacist Bites. What is it called? Pharmacist Ben Bites. Go to Critical Health News on any of the platforms. Look up Bites, BYTES, or Pharmacist Ben, and you will find a whole 30 minutes on the difference between taking a pharmaceutical and a nutraceutical. So really good episode there that he and Coach AJ did yesterday, and that would be April 25th. So you can also do a search by the date. But today, this amazing pharmacist who I mentioned, he was fired from being a pharmacist, but that didn't stop him. He kept going, kept learning, kept being driven by what he knew in his gut to be the right way, and helping more and more people along the way, from the inside out and the outside in. We have with us Pharmacist Ben Fuchs, and we get to question about pH a lot. There's alkaline water. There's, you don't want to have an acidic environment because that's, where other things happen. Well, today we're going to be talking about alkaline this, acid that, the truth about body pH with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs. So now if I can just find him here. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Hello, Pharmacist Ben. How are you?
Hi, Becca. Good to see you.
You as well. Thank you for joining us today. You're looking mighty sharp there.
Thank you. I thought I'd look a little pro today, look professional with my tie, my white shirt. What do you think?
I think it looks good on you.
I'm applying for Pharmacist Model of the Year.
Oh,
yeah.
Where do we vote?
There's a contest for the studliest pharmacist in America. What do you think?
Where do we vote?
All right. Where do you vote? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have to get you a ballot. Thank you, Becca. Thank you. I appreciate that. I know I've got your support.
Yes, you do.
Mr. Pharmacist America. So thanks for that story. I always feel slightly embarrassed about it, but nonetheless, that is what happened. I always felt like nutrition was God's medicine, and drugs are like a pale imitation. AJ asked me about the difference between on our, and by the way, the Pharmacist Bright Bites are on Rumble. I think they're on Rumble, right? AJ, they're on Rumble. So AJ asked me the difference between nutrition and drugs, and I told him, drugs are like Darth Vader with his lightsaber. Nutrition is like mom's chicken soup, grandma's chicken soup. Manja, eat, my darling, as opposed to, I am your father, Luke. Think of the difference. One is big and evil and monstrous and tells the body what to do. And the other is like kind and gentle and pets the body. There's a story in the Bible. Do you know your Bible, your Old Testament?
I do.
So in the Bible, Moses led the children of Israel through Egypt and the Exodus and all that stuff. And but Moses didn't get to go to the Promised Land, right? Joshua went to the promised land because Moses did something bad. Remember what Moses did?
I think it had to do with he was supposed to hit his staff.
If God said to the people were complaining about no water, and God said, go to the rock and ask the rock to give you some water. And Moses was all ticked off. He was having a bad day. The children of Israel were bitching and moaning and complaining, and he was sick of it. So he took the rock and he hit it. And the rock gave water, but because Moses hit the rock and God said, ask the rock, he got punished and he didn't go to the promised land. And that's kind of what drugs do. They hit the rock. They don't ask the rock. They hit it. They tell the rock what to do. They tell the cell what to do. See, the cell's been on Earth for 3.5 billion years. And in that that's a long time. Okay, I mean, we sometimes talk about these numbers. That's 3,000 million years, 3,500 million years. You know, that's a long time. And in that time, cells have discovered what they need. They have a menu from which they like to eat from. You know, cells are like miniature versions of people. People eat avocados and tuna fish sandwiches and apples and whatever people eat. Cells are miniature versions of people. They got a nervous system, they got a digestive system, they got a reproductive system, they got a skeletal system, they got all the things that we have. But instead of eating apples and oranges and tuna fish sandwiches, they eat the mighty 90 essential nutrients. This is what cells eat. This is the menu that a cells eat from. And that menu is very tight. It's been developed over 3.5 million years. There ain't no drugs on that menu. Nutrition is cell food. It's what cells eat. Nutrients compel the cell what to do, to compel the cell to do something based on our overriding the cell behavior. That's why you have anti-medicine, you have anti-inflammatories, and you have blocker medicine, beta blockers, and you have suppressant medicine, acid suppressants, and inhibitor medicines, and they're always shutting things down. This is what drugs do. And they do it in the name or the interest of reducing symptomology. It's basically saying we know better than the body. Nutrients say, here, do what you need to do. These are the raw materials for you to do what you need to do. Drugs say, we're going to tell you what to do. We're going to hit the rock. And the end result is toxicity. The end result is cellular distress. And while you may modify a symptom, you haven't corrected the problem. This is what I found with drugs. I was always amazed. It just never made sense to me that we would use drugs, which at the end of the day are poisons, not saying this rhetorically or semantically or poetically. They're literally poisons and toxins to make the body better. That just doesn't make sense. It shouldn't make sense to anybody. So I found myself using nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners were doing the drugs. The doctors were doing the drugs. And then, you know, long story short, I ended up having to start my own pharmacy because I couldn't find a pharmacy that was hip to nutrition. This was back in the 1980s. Of course, things have changed since then. So thank you for pointing that out. Nutrients are what drugs dream they could be. As I've said many times, and as somebody put it on a t-shirt, nutrients are what drugs dream they could be. And by the way, as I said to AJ on our break bite call, we get this question sometime. Oh, well, the doctor told me that vitamin C is going to interfere with my chemotherapy, you know, or will that drug interfere with my medicine? That sounds so amazing to me. It's like the nutrition is going to interfere with the poison. So we don't want the nutrition because it'll interfere with the poison. Now, that being said, physicians, I don't want this to be about a knock on physicians because they're thinking we can control the drugs. We don't know what's going to happen with the nutrients because they think of the nutrients as drugs. They think of it as a type of pharmacology. They don't study nutrition as nutrition. They study nutrition as nutrients as drugs. We study drugs as nutrients, or we talk about drugs, nutrients instead of drugs. They think of drugs as nutrients, and consequently, they're always shocked when they think of nutrients as drugs, and they're always shocked when vitamin E doesn't help heart disease. They say, oh, we gave that vitamin E in a controlled study, and everybody still died of a heart attack, as if the vitamin E is somehow a failed therapeutic intervention because people still have heart attacks when they take vitamin E. I'm just using that as an example. They're looking at the nutrients and using the criteria of pharmacological potency. That's not a criteria to use for nutrients. Nutrients, while they're very gentle and benign, have long sustaining benefits, plus they have cross benefits, additional benefits, not side effects, you get additional benefits. So nutrients are what drugs dream they could be. When a drug drug company does research on the effectiveness of a drug versus its potency. They're always looking for drugs that have high effectiveness, low toxicity. There's lots of drugs in the market. There's thousands of drugs in the marketplace. They all have some kind of biological effect, but they're all toxic. Nutrients give you biological effects, albeit milder, without toxicity. Okay, so that being said, thank you for pointing that out, Rebecca. Let's talk a little bit about acid. There's a lot of misunderstandings about acid in the body. So first of all, what the heck is an acid? Acid and alkaline are a measurement of electricity at the quantum level. When something is acidic, it is ripping off electrical energy. It's losing electrical energy. To the extent it loses electrical energy, I'm talking in very simple terms. This is kind of complex physics, but basically speaking, to the degree something loses energy, it is said to be acid. The more it loses energy, the more acidic it is. Alkaline sucks up energy. Alkaline is a vacuum cleaner. Acid is a fountain. Okay, so acidic substances are fountain-like. They spew off energy. Alkaline substances suck up energy like a vacuum cleaner. In the blood, you have to have alkaline. Why? Because you want to be sucking energy into the blood. You don't want to be spitting it out. Interestingly, on the skin, you need to have acid because you want the skin to be a force field, pushing things off because the skin's protective. So the blood pH, or let me just say this real quick. The pH scale goes from 0 to 14. And you guys probably know this, but just to reinforce, the pH scale goes from 0 to 14, where 0 to 7 is acid, 7 to 14 is alkaline. So when something is a pH over 7, we say it's alkaline. When it's a pH of under 7, we say it's acid. Super low acid is 0, 1, 2. Hydrochloric acid in the stomach is like 1, for example, or maybe even less than 1. Lye, which is a classic example, sodium hydroxide, lye, the stuff they use for perming your hair or for cleaning your oven, that is super alkaline. That's up to 13 or 14. Neutral is 7. The blood pH is slightly alkaline. It has to be slightly alkaline. And it's very tightly controlled. 7.38. So it's controlled to 2 decimal points. Not just 7, not 7.3, 7.38. If it gets to 7.37, you don't feel so good. If it gets to 7.35, you feel even worse. And if it starts dropping lower and lower, that's when you start to manifest the signs of disease. So the question is, why does the blood become acidic? There's lots of reasons. The 2 major control points for acid are the kidney, or pH, are the kidneys and the lungs. The way the blood is supposed to, the way blood pH is supposed to be maintained is via oxygenation, breathing. This is why breathing is so important. Oxygen is an alkalinizing agent. Carbon dioxide is acid. So when you breathe correctly, you're breathing in alkaline and you're breathing out acid. This is how the blood pH is supposed to be maintained. Now, there are chemicals, molecules in the blood that help control it. And as I say, the kidneys will help filter out certain things and maintain certain things. So the kidneys are involved as well. But the fastest way, the main way to alkalinize the blood, the most important way to alkalinize the blood immediately is by breathing. And also, poor breathing techniques, as you can see, because breathing is important for alkalinization, poor breathing techniques can lead to acidosis. But the main problem with acidosis is toxicity. Acid, when a cell dies, it explodes its wastes into the bloodstream, and its wastes are acidic. Acidosis is also, in addition to poor breathing, poor oxygenation, is also associated with cell death and toxicity. Now, and also kidney dysfunction, kidney disease. And our kidneys are become less functional way before we were into kidney disease. So as we said before, you could be at 15% kidney function. You may not even know you have a kidney problem. You know, you're 20% kidney function. You may not even know you have a kidney problem, but you're still going to have a problem controlling your blood pH. So between kidney issues and the lungs and oxygenation, you have two of the major causes of acidosis. Then you throw in toxicity into the blood, that is especially in the form of sugar, and cellular death, and you have all the main reasons for acidosis in the blood. As I said, when you're acidotic, you're not going to feel good. When you're chronically acidotic, your body will start to deteriorate. Under conditions of chronically low pH, the body will start to deteriorate, particularly the part of the body that we talked about so much, the connective tissue. The connective tissue is the stuff that holds everything in place, as we've said, and all the signs of age, most of the distressing signs of aging that we go to the great lengths to avoid, from exercising to plastic surgery to having stuff stuck into our skin, injected into our skin, are really the signs of connective tissue deterioration, and acidosis ultimately will affect the connective tissue and lead to its degradation. So you don't feel good when you're acidotic. Your body breaks down when it's acidotic. Acidosis is associated with all of the unpleasant signs of aging, and then the main causes of acidosis are kidney issues, breathing issues, and toxicity. Chronic inflammation will also do it. Fortunately, the body has a way of protecting itself from acidosis, because the blood pH, as I said, has to be tightly regulated. One of those ways involves calcium. Calcium has a alkalinizing effect, and under acidotic condition, the blood will become more sticky to calcium. It will tend to attract calcium as a mechanism of neutralization. This can lead to eventually weakening of the bones. This is one of the causes of osteoporosis, whether it's osteoporosis of the skeletal system or as Doc likes to talk about, osteoporosis of the skull. In fact, probably the main cause of osteoporosis is chronic acidosis. Probably nutritional deficiencies play a role in there as well, which is why the drugs for treating osteoporosis are so powerful, because when the body wants to alkalize the blood, when it needs to take calcium out of the bones, it's going to do that. That's a very important mechanism for survival. So it's very hard to override that mechanism. And that's why the pharmacology that's associated with osteoporosis, the so-called bisphosphonates, are so darn toxic, because you got to override this very evolutionarily conserved, this very built-in biochemical mechanism for alkalizing the blood. This will lead to sticky calcification of tissues. This is where calcification comes from. Long-term chronic acidosis following kidney disease, following poor oxygenation, following toxicity, following cell death, all the reasons why we have acidosis will ultimately lead to calcification. Calcification is one of the primary mechanisms for death. We turn to stone. We become hard. I get questions all the time about how do we deal with calcification. I have to talk about chelating and getting rid of calcium and such, and using vitamin K and magnesium. But really the problem is the acid blood, which is following the kidney issues and the toxicity and all these other things. So acid blood will cause the body to pull calcium out of the blood. It will lead to calcification. Acid blood also makes red blood cells stiff. It changes the chemistry of the membrane and of the red blood cell itself. Once the red blood cell becomes stiffened and becomes weakened, you don't oxygenate as well, and this leads to a vicious downward spiral, because oxygen is important for alkalinization. So acid will lead to toxicity, will lead to disturbances in the blood, which will lead to less oxygenation, which will lead to more acid, which will lead to more toxicity. You get this downward vicious spiral. Because the main mechanisms for alkalinization, for raising the blood pH, are oxygen and the kidneys, you can see why it's not going to help you to drink alkaline water. When you drink alkaline water, it gets processed in the stomach. The stomach is acidic. You immediately change the alkaline water. This is also why eating alkaline foods, some foods they say are alkaline, other foods are acid, is not really a great strategy either for alkalinization, because alkalinization is controlled by oxygen. To a certain extent, there are minerals that can have a slight alkalinizing effect, but you're not going to really get much alkalinizing effect from specific foods, although foods that are toxic, especially foods that have sugar in them, those will cause acidosis, and laying off sugar will tend to raise your blood pH. Also, under conditions of acid blood, you'll be more likely to form stones and crystals like kidney stones. Stone formation is also encouraged by acid blood. And we all already know if you have a kidney problem, you tend towards acid blood, and this can compound the issue. So for all of these reasons, acid is associated with deterioration of the body. It's associated with changes in your metabolism. It's associated with defective oxygenation of tissues by making red blood cells harder. It's associated with osteoporosis and calcification. You can see it's a big mess. So what do? Well, the most important thing is to breathe correctly, to change breathing exercises, slow, deep, rhythmic breathing, oxygenation of the tissues, oxygenation of the blood. Oxygenation of the blood. That's the most important thing you can do to raise pH. You will feel better when you're breathing, partially because you're becoming more alkaline. Now, on the skin, it's a little different because the skin, you need to be acid, and just like we tend to be less healthy when our blood is acidic, our skin tends to be healthy when our blood is non-acidic, when our skin is alkaline. Eczematic skin, elderly skin, psoriatic skin, dry skin, all tends to have a higher pH, tends to be more alkaline. So while you want the blood to be acidic, you want the skin to be, or well, the blood to be alkaline, you want the skin to be acidic. And there's different ways that you can do that. But as long as you're unhealthy, as long as you're missing key nutrients, I'll tell you a couple of important ones here in a second, you're still going to have a problem with alkaline skin. There are ways to acidify the skin using alpha hydroxy acids, but the most important strategy for acidifying the skin is to use nutrition, particularly fatty acids and phospholipids. Those are the two most important nutrients for keeping the skin acidic. Phospholipids are found in foods like eggs, grains, legumes, dairy, organ meats, and essential fatty acids, the ultimate EFAs, are a must. Longevity's ultimate EFAs and the EFA Plus are a must-have for any skin health issue for a lot of reasons, but not the least of which are the fact that these essential fatty acids are involved in producing and making the skin acidic. They produce acidic fats, fatty acids in the skin. This is how the skin stays acidic, is through the incorporation of fatty acids into the tissue, and your ultimate EFAs are essential fatty acids. Phospholipids also do the same thing. So blood pH, you're not going to be able to change your blood pH with alkaline water. It's silly, although there are some minerals in alkaline water. You may get some nutritional value from it, but you're not going to change your blood pH. You're not going to really change your blood pH by eating correctly, although you have to eat correctly, with the exception of avoiding toxicity, which tends to be acidic. The most important strategy for alkalinizing the blood is oxygenation, is making sure that you're breathing correctly, and then also avoiding or protecting your kidneys, keeping your kidneys healthy, and avoiding things that compromise the kidneys, most especially sugar. Now, while the pH issue is very interesting, I have to reinforce this, and I know I did a talk on Saturday. Some of you guys may have heard this, where I took and we did this on Friday last week, as I recall. We took the triangle of disease and we simplified it. We said we're going to call it the horizon of disease, the plane of disease. I don't like any of those names. You got to come up with a better name. But that being said, there's 2 points now. We've eliminated the third point. The third point, which of course is the adrenal thyroid complex. And by the way, the adrenal glands are also very important for controlling the blood. The adrenal glands are the adrenal glands. They sit on top of the kidneys, adrenal. So they're almost like an extension of the kidneys, and there's a lot of blood pressure and mineral issues that are associated with the adrenal glands, and minerals are especially important for adrenal health. So forget about those 2 points, the tip of the triangle. Just work on the digestive system, the blood sugar. And while I love talking about acid pH and alkaline and acid and kidney health and all the things that we talk about, in the interest of simplicity and in the interest of getting quick results and in the interest of reversing chronic disease, 2 points. digestive health, and blood sugar. The blood sugar system has to be respected because it is your control point for your steroid hormones. There's a major interaction between insulin and all the steroid hormones: estrogen, testosterone, DHEA, progesterone, cortisol, vitamin D. They all interact with insulin. And one of the most frustrating things for a patient to deal with or a practitioner to deal with is hormone imbalances, because the hormones are so tightly connected with each other. So when you have issues with your male hormones, if you're a guy, you're losing your masculinity as you get older, you're becoming more feminized as you get older. If you're a woman and you're dealing with problems with estrogen, fibroids and cysts and infertility and stress and inflammation and autoimmunity, it becomes a nightmare to try to figure out, how do I deal with my estrogen and my thyroid and my testosterone, because they're all connected to each other. The simplest way is to deal with the blood sugar system, specifically insulin resistance. Insulin resistance syndrome, insulin resistant metabolic syndrome, there's many names for this condition, type 2 diabetes, is behind almost all hormonal issues, hormonal imbalance issues, steroid hormonal imbalance issues, and thyroid hormonal imbalance issues, especially women. Hot flashes. If you want a good menopause, if you want to not have menopausal health challenges, hot flashes, anxiety, weight gain, all the things that have acne, oily skin, all things that happen when a woman goes through perimenopause and menopause, work on your blood sugar. Get on the healthy blood sugar pack. All women dealing with menopausal symptoms, get on the healthy blood sugar pack and treat yourself like a diabetic, whether or not you've been diagnosed. Healthy blood sugar pack should be called the healthy menopause pack, because of its relationship, because of the connection between blood sugar nutrition, blood sugar stabilizing nutrition, insulin stabilizing nutrition, and your steroid hormones. It's very difficult to deal with these things just by working on hormones. This is why hormone therapy doesn't really work. Although it may give you some quick benefits, in the long run it doesn't work. Plus you run the risk of throwing off your hormonal imbalance with the exogenous estrogen. Plus estrogen is a growth substance that's on the FDA's known to cause cancer list because of its ability to speed up growth. So working on your blood sugar is critical. And of course, point number one on the triangle of disease is the intestine, the digestive system, we'll say, but specifically the intestine. And leaky gut, SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and leaky gut that follows is, number one, linked to insulin resistance issues, and number two, linked to acidosis in the blood, toxicity in the blood. And number three, linked to histamine, which we haven't talked about, but histamine is an accelerant that has many of the same effects on the blood as excess blood sugar and estrogen. There's overlap between them. So working on leaky gut is also very important for dealing with hormonal health and dealing with acidosis and all the things we're talking about. So it really comes down to, as fascinating as it is to talk about the steroid hormones and acidosis and pH and all the fun things we talk about, from a health condition, from alleviating your health condition perspective, point number one, the digestive system, specifically the intestine, although the whole digestive system is involved: gallbladder, liver, pancreas, stomach, even your mouth, even your saliva, and blood sugar. Just those 2 points. Don't overthink. You know, I did the talk, and I'm not trying to insult anybody or knock anybody, but I did that talk on Saturday where I talked for an hour on these 2 points of the triangle of disease, and we still got questions about, what do I do for my glaucoma? What do I do for my arthritis? You know, so I got to go back, and I'm not knocking anybody, because, you know, repetition is reinforcement. These are new ideas. Digestion, blood sugar, digestion, blood sugar, digestion, blood sugar. Just keep that as a mantra. Healthy digestion pack, healthy blood sugar pack. There's accessory nutrients that we have, wonderful accessory nutrients that support the digestive system, like the I-26, like the ultimate microbiome, like the nightly essence. We have wonderful accessory blood sugar stabilizing nutrients like the ultimate ultimate niacin, ultimate selenium. Actually, selenium is part of the blood sugar pack, but the osteomag. There's all kinds of nutrients that you use to support the blood sugar pack. There's all kinds of nutrients, longevity nutrients, that you could use to support the digestive system. But focusing on digestive health with the healthy digestive pack and the blood sugar with the healthy blood sugar pack, those will go a long way towards taking care of almost all health challenges. Then you can fine tune it. So digestion and blood sugar, and keep in mind, blood sugar doesn't just mean blood sugar, it means insulin too, because insulin is a growth substance that has a major disturbing, plays a major disturbing role in steroid hormones, in the production and the metabolism and processing of steroid hormones. So digestion, blood sugar slash insulin. No matter how much we talk about all these other things, digestion, blood sugar slash insulin.
Folks, you just got a postgraduate course, crash course on pH and the blood. Wow, that was fantastic.
Thank you.
And I love the fact, Pharmacist Ben, that the replay of this is available on YouTube and Rumble and Facebook and Patreon and Brighteon and Spotify, iHeart, Amazon Music, Simplecast, Google Podcast, Instagram. I mean, we are reaching people where they're at. We're going to make sure that this is also on the Apple TV app and also the Fire TV app. And what's that one I'm missing? Roku. It's like, my goodness. You just got that for free, folks. The things that you yourself can do, and I see people clapping, to help support a healthy pH within the blood. And what's supposed to be alkaline? What's supposed to be acidic? So
let me just say one last thing I forgot to mention. You could test your, you could do urinary pH test and saliva pH test too, if you want to know where you're at. Although it's not necessary if you're just feeling lousy or you have stones, or if you have problems with your blood or toxicity or whatever it is, you can assume that you're acidotic. But you can do a urinary blood pH, a urinary pH test, and a salivary pH test. Both urine and saliva tend to be more acidic because toxins are coming out in both fluids, especially the urine. The urine can get really acidic. But you don't want it to. You want it to be within a certain range. If it's under 4, you're going to have a big problem with you got big problems with your urine. Even if it's under 5, you're probably not. You probably have a slight problem. At least. So,
off the top of your head, do you know where we want that pH to be?
pH of urine and saliva.
Or saliva.
Right around for saliva, right around 7-ish. Okay. It can go down to like 6.5, 6.4-ish kind of thing. If it gets down under 6, you got a problem. And then urinary pH tends to be a little bit more acidic. It can go down to like 4.8, 4.5. If it's under 4.5, you're going to have a problem. And alkalosis, by the way, alkalosis, which is high pH, is not as much of a problem as acidosis, because alkalosis can be diluted with water. You can dilute alkalosis. You can't dilute acidosis, but you can dilute alkalosis. So alkalosis doesn't tend to be as much of a problem as acidosis. Acidosis is representative of cell death and toxicity.
Well, we don't want cell death.
No, you don't want cell.
Unless it's the bad cells that are like dying, making room for the good cells. But I mean, that's a simple, affordable, very affordable test that you can do at home, all on your own. But when it comes to the nutrition and making sure that you're getting the best available for your money, you want to make sure that you get back with the person that shared this program with you, with a longevity associate. If there's no one to thank, again, you can go to DailywithDoc.com, reach out to us there. And I love that blood sugar pack because it has the foundation of what we need, plus what's needed to help support the pancreas and insulin production and absorption and utilization within the body, which is fantastic. I never thought about it for like menopausal women, because I always think about adding something that's a hormone support.
Right. We always think of the hormone system, and it's almost impossible to control the hormone system by approaching the hormones because they're so interactive. They're so tightly networked with everything. Estrogen is balanced with testosterone, is balanced with progesterone and DHEA, and thyroid hormone and prolactin, and there's a whole bunch of hormones that interact with each other at the hormone level. But if you control it at the insulin and the blood sugar level, which is the second point on this plane of disease, not only will you be able to get some stabilization on your hormones, but you'll also be reducing, lowering your blood sugar and sensitizing your body to insulin so that you have better blood sugar control. And blood sugar and insulin are major, elevated blood sugar or insulin resistance are major causes of disease independent of hormones. So you're going to, independent of steroid hormones. So you're going to be adding years to your life through multiple mechanisms, plus making yourself more comfortable if you're dealing with insulin with hot flashes and menopausal symptoms. And by the way, for people who have menopausal symptoms, whether it's anxiety or insomnia or hot flashes or whatever it is, notice that when you stop eating, fasting, when you practice a fast, you feel better. Your hot flashes tend to diminish, and your anxiety and your insomnia and your other estrogenic, your menopausal symptoms will improve when you reduce your calories. And when you stop, if you practice intermittent fasting or when you completely stop food. And that alone should tell you the relationship between blood sugar and insulin and the unpleasantries associated with menopause. So treat menopausal symptoms as insulin resistance, IR, metabolic syndrome, dysglycemia, whatever you want to call it, type 2 diabetes issues, even if you have not been diagnosed. Really, diagnosis is irrelevant when it comes to dealing with diabetes or dysglycemia, because your blood sugar is thrown off way before you're officially at the point where you're diabetic.
Wow. And so this probably explains why I never had any menopause symptoms. None.
That's awesome.
No hot flashes, nothing. I loved it. So, when people come to me thinking, but what do you take for menopause? I'm like, well, I know what I took and I never got any menopause symptoms, but I'm on the other side and loving it. I missed that experience, but I don't know that I missed it. I was blessed. So, there's really something to nutrition. We do have some products that are fantastic for maintaining hormone balance for men and women, but you got to go to the foundation first. And controlling that blood sugar and getting those 90 essential nutrients, that's where you have to start. Because I know a lot of people like, well, I just want something for this. This is the problem I want to address.
Right. This for that. I call it this for that.
Yeah, this for that. Well, we gotta really hone down and look at underlying causes instead of just responding to what's going wrong. And I have an idea.
Yeah.
Double dots of disease.
Or
the dual dots of disease.
The dots of disease? The two dots of disease?
The dots of disease.
Okay, all right.
Connecting the dots of disease.
Connecting the dots of disease. All right. I'll think about that.
So we have many questions, and okay. So the first question we have is coming here in YouTube or wherever we're at, Zoom, from David Robert, wanting to know or makes questions. Lemon juice is tart, but is it acidic?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, lemon juice has acid in it, but it also has minerals in it that are alkalinizing. So once you eat the lemon juice, or once you eat the lemon, or once the lemon juice goes into your stomach, the minerals, the electrolytes, the potassium and the magnesium and the sodium and the phosphates and all the other minerals that are in the lemon juice. I don't know if there's probably phosphates in there. Those will have an alkalinizing effect in the long run. So even though it's tart and you think it's acidic, once it gets through the stomach and gets into the intestine, it's no longer acidic, and the minerals that are in the lemon will tend to have an alkalinizing effect. It's not like you get instant alkalinization, but you have the resources in place for the body to use to alkalinize the blood.
Okay. And then how about, so Olga over here on YouTube wants to know, how about the bicarbonate of soda for alkalinity?
Yeah, bicarbonate is actually sodium bicarbonate is a great nutritional supplement. Bicarbonate is one of the substances that the body will use that's in the blood for alkalinizing. So it's a natural alkalinizer. And yes, sodium bicarbonate actually is a really very interesting I don't want to say supplement, but non-medical or non-pharmacological tool that you could use for alkalizing blood as well as just for feeling better. That's Alka-Seltz. Acidosis, you want to know what acidosis feels like? It feels like a hangover. A hangover is partially due to acidosis. And what's the treatment is Alka-Seltzer, which has bicarbonate in it, that fizzy stuff. So yes, bicarbonate, whether it's potassium bicarbonate or sodium bicarbonate, is actually a very nice alkalinizing substance that you can use. Although, like I say, what it does is it puts bicarbonate in the vicinity to be used. It's not going to instantly alkalinize your blood, but it will give your body the resources to use. That being said, it's pretty much a tried and true supplement or new substance that you can use to improve overall health and the way how you feel if your blood is acidic or if you have a hangover or if you're just sick.
All right. Well, let's go to some hands that are up, and let's first go to Phyllis. So Phyllis, go ahead and unmute yourself. What questions do you have today?
Yes, Ben, I think this is going to chime right in with what you're talking about. We have a client, Bella. She's 50 years old, 5'1", 140 pounds. Background, she had a hysterectomy because she had stage 1 cancer. Her prognosis is good. She's doing well now. This was last summer. Now, here's the question. She is taking 5 milligrams of amlodipine to control some high blood pressure. And the doctors are saying she also has a hyperactive thyroid.
Hyperactive or hypoactive?
Hyper, okay. And that she has too much calcium in her system.
Okay. Why do you think there's too much? Why is there too much calcium based on everything we just said?
Well, I'm thinking it's because of acid blood.
Absolutely, that's why. 100%, that's why. This is an unhealthy woman. Is she on the call?
No, she's not.
Okay, so this is a distressingly unhealthy woman. She's only 50, which is young. She's 5'1", 140 pounds, which is way off. They gave her hysterectomy, but they did not correct the problem. Now, I don't know what her cancer situation was. Maybe they had to take out her organs. I doubt it, but let's say they did. She's majorly compromised at this point. And this is what I'm going to say now is really, really important, okay? And I love my doctor friends. This is no knock on doctors. They're good people, like I say. I've said many times, they mean well. They're trying to do their best. They don't have the tools. There's no doctor, unless he's using non-doctor strategies, and some of them do, that can help this woman. They can carve her up, they can take organs out, they can they can drug her up, but they cannot help her feel better. This is her job. Okay, now, she is a little bit compromised at this point because of the hysterectomy. Okay, fine. At 5'1", 140, her body is screaming insulin resistance, screaming it through the computer. I can hear it screaming through my monitor. All right. So based on everything we said, obviously, if you have insulin resistance issues, you're going to have hormonal issues. And that's probably where the cancer and the hysterectomy started off, because nobody thought to correct the insulin resistance. So immediately get this woman on the healthy blood sugar pack. Hypertension is also a classic sign, by the way, of acidosis. So it's one of the ways the body attempts to override the disturbances in red blood cell health and integrity. That the red blood, remember that when the blood is acidic, the red blood cells aren't able to do their job as well. They become stiff. So the blood pressure will increase as the body attempts to get nutrition and oxygen to the cells. So immediately, and she's probably way acidotic, obviously, if she's got hypertension. That's a sign of acidosis, as I said. It's also a sign of insulin resistance. So right away, get her on the healthy blood sugar pack. Immediatamente, now, today, healthy blood sugar pack. Treat her like a diabetic. She'll know she's on the right track when she starts to lose weight and her blood pressure starts to drop. Oxygenation is also important. And by the way, oxygen will also have a tendency to lower the blood pressure. I always tell people, take your blood pressure and then do a 10 minutes or 15 minutes of breathing exercises and then do your blood pressure again. And when it comes to breathing exercises, you got to be very careful, because if you don't know how to breathe correctly and you do breathing exercises with your poor technique, you're going to make matters worse. So when you're doing breathing exercises, you want to make sure you're doing it correctly. And breathing has to be slow deep and rhythmic. Slow, deep, and rhythmic. That's the key to healthy breathing. Get online and look up a good breathing exercise. I like Wim Hof breathing. So first of all, healthy blood sugar pack. I'm guessing, and it's an educated guess, I'd like to talk to this woman, but I'm guessing that there's digestive health problems too, because of the way the triangle of disease, or the 2 points of
the dual dots.
Dual dots of disease go, that digestive health challenges are usually the first thing that happens. In fact, I've never heard of blood sugar condition or dysglycemia that doesn't have a digestive component. So working with foods, the I-26, there's probably leaky gut issues, FODMAPs, food diarrhea, all the things we talk about with foods. Number one, this is without, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but this is a very unhealthy situation. Number two, it's very easy to resolve. Now, the fact that she's had a hysterectomy it's going to make it a little tougher to completely resolve, but you can begin to resolve it immediately. Healthy blood sugar pack, food diary, and then you may need some digestive support like the I-26, especially because I'm guessing there's some SIBO there too.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I know we have lots of questions, Becca, so I will drop off.
All right, let's go right over to AJ.
Pharmacist Ben.
Hey, Jay.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Sportus.
I forgot to change my. So, you got an email in here. A woman says, I heard, first of all, says, hi, Pharmacist Ben. I've been listening to your videos, read your articles every day. I'm a retired nurse.
Oh, nice.
I heard on a recent podcast that a caller called and she was older and had cysts on her kidney. And you suggested they were caused by sugar over a period of time. My question is, could those cysts be reversed if sugar is eliminated? And what would also include, and would that also include liver cysts as well?
Yes.
Thank you for all you do. She listens to you on Coast to Coast, Cheryl.
Two things. Cysts should always be regarded as insulin and estrogen. Those are the two major causes of cysts or any growth, skin tags, tumors, benign or otherwise, any kind of excess growth, fibrosis, anytime, technically that's called hypertrophy. Hypertrophy. Hyper means a lot or excess. Trophy means growing. So hypertrophy means growing. Any kind of hypertrophic condition, think insulin and think estrogen. Hang on just a second. I'm sorry. Got somebody calling me. Think insulin and estrogen. And then I just thought of something with that gal, going back to the gal before, I think Rebecca said hyperthyroidism. I forgot to address the hyperthyroidism for that gal. Hyperthyroidism is Graves' disease. It's an autoimmune condition, and that's always going to be a gut problem, a digestive problem. And that's for the last person. Sorry to go backwards there. I hope I didn't confuse you there. Sportus nutritionosis. As far as kidney cysts go, yes, think insulin and think estrogen. And yes, cysts can go away. Cysts are like little mini tumors, and they can go back down. Absolutely.
Same for the kidney and the liver.
Same idea, no matter where they are.
And then thank you very much. Then just another quick question.
You can have cysts on any organs. You can have cysts on any organ of the body. It's not skin, pancreas, kidneys, whatever. Ovaries.
And then another one from Denise. She has Hep C. She just finished the longevity liver cleanse. She takes a lot of the products. She tried to get rid of all the bad stuff. She drinks 64 ounces of water every day. She takes sweeties. What can she do to get rid of this Hep C?
Well, hepatitis C is officially hepatitis C is a viral infection, assuming there's a virus there. That's an immune condition. So two things. Number one, viruses are opportunistic. That means they wait for you to be weak. Just like lions wait for the weak zebra, viruses wait for the weak patient. They wait for the immune system to become compromised. The most important suppressants of the immune system are cortisol, that's its purpose, that's its role, is to suppress the immune system. And so now you're dealing with stress hormones. You got to deal with do all the things that help you reduce stress. And whenever we hear about stress, we think of psychological stress. And yes, that's an important aspect of stress. But it's important to recognize that stress is also, and maybe even primarily, physiological. It's associated with inflammation and attack on the body. So where does the main attack come from? Food. So working with the digestive system and working with the blood sugar system, and there's a very important connection between blood sugar and cortisol. So lowering cortisol can also, you can also lower cortisol by working on blood sugar. So that I would also do the blood sugar, work on the blood sugar system, strengthen the immune system, basically. We also have some full-blown immune boosters. The Immune FX is an immune booster. Also, the Ultimate Selenium is not only an immune booster, but it's also an antiviral supplement. Selenium has antiviral properties, so you may want to get on the Ultimate Selenium. I got to say, Doc Wallach taught me a lot about selenium. We learned about selenium in pharmacy school, but I didn't learn even a 10% of what I know about selenium until I started listening to Doc. Selenium also helps with estrogen too, by the way. Selenium is an absolutely incredible supplement that's very active in small amounts. So I would do the Ultimate Selenium as well. And Dr. Aria's liver cleanse is great, and everybody should do the liver cleanse. You won't believe what happens, what comes out when you do Dr. Aria's liver cleanse. It's just a great thing to do. But metabolic syndrome is the major cause of liver disease, aside from drugs and alcohol. The major cause of liver disease is metabolic syndrome, which is insulin resistance. So aside from strengthening her immunity with the Immune FX and the Ultimate Selenium, also she can also work strictly with metabolic syndrome, working with the blood sugar system, work on dysglycemia, so the healthy blood sugar pack. She did say she's on the Sweeties, so that tells me she may already know that she has some blood sugar issues. But in addition to the Sweeties, just get on the whole healthy blood sugar pack, which does include the Ultimate Selenium. The Ultimate Niacin also has some blood sugar protecting effects, and then also the Ultimate Zinc can be helpful for blood sugar issues. If there is, I forgot to mention before, when we talked about histamine, which is an accelerant, and histamine comes out from bacteria in the gut when you have dysbiosis and leaky gut. Histamine can also be ingested through certain foods. Even good foods can contain histamine, and histamine is actually produced in fermented foods and also in leftover foods tend to be higher in histamine. So if there's a histamine component to any of your health challenges, the CFX, vitamin C, is a great antihistamine, a great natural antihistamine.
Thank you very much, Ben. Would colloidal silver be of any use in this case?
No, I mean, it wouldn't hurt her, but it wouldn't change her life either.
You the man. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Pharmacist Ben. And let's go to, and do you have a hard stop?
A little after, it's already, oh my God. Let's do a couple more.
Okay. So we're going to go to Mary real quick. Mary, welcome to Daily with Doc. What is your question today, my dear?
I have too many questions, but I got bit a whole bunch of times in Florida by mosquitoes. And I mean, it became such an occupation at night, that just the nonstop scratching. And then I had to put at least 5 bandages on each different size, because I was surrounded by a beautiful fountain and the water going. And I guess that's where the mosquitoes came. And then when I came back, because I was anemic when I got there, but I had to get a blood transfusion. Is there you think
blood transfusion?
Mosquitoes would have done that?
No, I doubt it. You had a you were anemic, so they gave you a blood transfusion?
At the emergency.
Really? No, I don't know. The mosquitoes would do that.
So
but the anemia is a little bit concerning. I mean, do you have a history of anemia?
No, I've been healthy for the until they told me this diagnosis 5 years ago. I just started kind of slowing down, but I've always been very active, walking my dog, doing my garden, doing my compost, even before I left for my trip a month ago.
Well, the most common nutrition.
This was all after the operation. They told me to slow down. I tried to slow down. I did that. Okay. But I mean, I was outdoors. I can't even breathe now when I
don't know necessarily. I wouldn't blame it on mosquitoes, but anemia is something that I would be concerned about. Think about the B. Are you on the nutritional supplements? Are you taking the Healthy Start Pack? You should be. The B vitamins and
I got the 99 whatever essential. I'm back on that again because I got.
Okay, well that'll help. The B comp. One of the neatest things about the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, which I've been talking about for years, is its super high concentration of the B complex.
Okay.
especially folate, folic acid. And I meant to talk about cyanocobalamin. I forgot to do that here. I wanted to talk about that, Rebecca. We'll do that next time. Vitamin B12, methylcobalamin, folic acid, and then also iron is very important for anemia. But most people don't have a problem with iron as much as they have a liver issue because the liver handles iron. The liver is supposed to process iron, so it maybe have something to do with the liver. I can't tell you exactly, but it's very rare for anemia just to show up like that. That seems kind of weird to me.
Yeah, so maybe I've been getting tired over the years, aging and everything.
Yeah, the first thing I would think about is the Beyond Tangy Tangerine for the B complex and also the liver.
And then the blood sugar pack, did you say?
The blood sugar pack wouldn't hurt you, absolutely, for metabolic issues, metabolic syndrome.
For the liver, you're saying get something for the
liver?
liver?
The major aside from drug abuse or alcohol abuse or
not a problem.
The major issue with the liver is metabolic syndrome, which is a function of insulin resistance.
Okay. Maybe I have diabetes. I don't even know.
Don't call it diabetes. That's the brand name. Call it dysglycemia or insulin resistance.
Okay. Insulin resistance. Okay. I'll tell one of your workers there. Yeah. So something for the liver, right?
I would guess the first thing I think about with anemia is iron, which is handled by the liver.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll just call you guys and I hope that I feel better because I don't feel good at all. So, I mean, and I was
probably a lot more, there's probably a lot more going on. I'm guessing you're in your late 60s, probably, correct? Something like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're somewhere in there and you haven't really been focusing on nutrition or on keeping your body healthy, there's probably stuff going on, and it's very unlikely to live the standard American lifestyle and not have a degree of dysglycemia in your late 60s.
Okay. And I'm vegetarian. I don't eat meat.
And that's probably not helping either. If you are vegetarian.
What about cooked food? I got on
cooking is a mixed bag. It's probably a good idea to have you don't want to overcook. But cooking does release certain nutrients and makes them more available than raw. On the other hand, cooking destroys enzymes.
Yeah.
So you want to kind of have a certain balance.
Okay.
Like maybe 30-70 cooked to raw kind of thing. Raw definitely has some advantages, but cooking also releases nutrients, particularly amino acids.
Okay. But I don't do meat, but
if you don't do meat, that could be a problem because it's hard to get the quality iron from vegetables. Plus, grains and vegetables have those lectins in them, and those can also be problematic.
Oh, because I do it. I'm addicted to lentils.
Lentils are especially, I'm not saying for you, not everybody has problems with lentils or beans, but lentils do contain a lot of plant defense molecules like beans do. Legumes in general do.
Okay.
So you may be having an issue that way as well.
Cut back and see if I feel
You'll have to see how you do. Not everybody has a problem with them, but you may.
Thank you, Doc. Or
Pharmacist
Ben.
Thank you.
See you on Coast to Coast.
Thank you, Mary.
All right. Thank you, Mary. And Pharmacist Ben, anemia was one thing that I had really bad. And just working on my bones, I didn't realize I was also working on the health of my blood.
That's right. The red blood cells are made in the bone marrow.
Yeah. So I went from borderline needing transfusions to, and I'm really bad. I would go to try to donate blood.
Yeah.
To see where my iron levels were because I didn't want to be put on anything pharmaceutical for it. And I went after being on the products for about not even 4 years to give blood. And they asked me to sit for a double setting of whole blood.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't even realize that I was benefiting my blood that
Well, check this out. We talk about iron for anemia, and that is the first thing I tend to think of. But the reason iron is important is because it is the mineral, the battery, if you will, that makes hemoglobin go. Hemoglobin is the protein that sucks up oxygen, that holds on to oxygen. Without iron, you can't make hemoglobin, so you don't hold on to oxygen. However, you can have hemoglobin issues, glycation, for example, if you have blood sugar problems, second point in the triangle of disease, and you can have red blood cell issues through acidosis, as we talked about, or you can have sticky coagulated blood through toxicity and leaky gut. And all of those can compromise oxygen delivery, which will give you the symptoms of fatigue and the feelings of anemia. So while we talk about iron, it might be hemoglobin, or it might be red blood cells, or it might be toxic blood that is causing the fatigue or the lack of delivery of oxygen. Also, when you have insulin resistance, I think we mentioned this last week, I'm not sure. If you have insulin resistance, insulin is a feeding hormone. You know, we talk about insulin for helping deliver sugar to fat cells, or getting sugar out of the blood, and that is what insulin does through supporting the feeding of cells. However, insulin feeds other nutrients to cells. So when you have insulin resistance and cells stop listening to insulin, they're not going to get fed. They're not going to get their vitamins. They're not going to get their minerals. And ultimately, they're going to be sick. And that can also lead to some of the signs of anemia. So it's not always necessarily an iron issue. It could also be a red blood cell issue, an insulin issue, or a blood toxicity issue. So it's not always iron. And this is why you really want to think of the body as a whole system and work with the roots. Think of everything as the fruits, all the symptoms as fruits, and think of the roots that lead to the rotten fruits as being the digestive system and the blood sugar system, both of which are largely marked by the impact of food, or distress is marked by the impact of foods. Distress at the level of the digestive system is caused by the impact of foods. Distress at the level of the blood sugar system is foods too. So it's all about foods, really. We talk about the 2 points, but it's really just foods. And nutrition, of course, is the active ingredients in foods.
Yes. Well, it's interesting because Pharmacist Ben Bites has that tree that includes the roots and goes up into the
roots and the
foliage
roots.
with fruit. Fantastic. Awesome.
All right.
A lot of people will mention, well, you don't have very much iron in your products. And I'm thinking,
iron is a mixed bag. You got to be very, very careful with iron. Iron is very, very pro-aging and very, very mutation causing. It's a powerful, powerful, unstable element. And this is why the body controls iron at the level of the liver. There's a whole biochemical system. There's a molecule called hepcidin that is specifically designed to control iron and iron levels. Iron has to be tightly controlled. Just swallowing iron pills is really, it's playing with fire, because iron is a very unstable element, and it can be pro-aging and pro-oxidizing as much as it's important for our health and important for oxygenation. It's a very unstable element.
well, that's good to know. So we're definitely going to make some shorts out of that that I can share with people when they mention something about wanting more iron. We've got to be very careful. Let's go to one more question if you have time.
Okay, one more question.
All right. Let's go to Albert. Hello, Albert. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, Albert.
Hi, Pharmacist Ben. My question today is just a question of clarification about pharmaceuticals. You mentioned it in shows before, and I'm asking it, like I say, for clarification. Do our bodies see pharmaceuticals directly see it as a toxin, or are the pharmaceuticals toxins to our bodies, direct toxins?
Not quite understand that question. Pharmaceuticals are clearly toxins. There's no getting around it. They work by poisoning the cell, and they have to be cleared out by utilizing the poison control chemistry in the liver. The liver has an ability to detoxify poisons. There's all kinds of enzymatic biochemical processes that involve various nutrients that clear out poisons out of the body. Vitamins, minerals, essential fatty acids, amino acids, the mighty 9 essential nutrients, those don't go through that. All drugs go through that. All drugs will affect the liver and they'll affect the kidney. Those are your 2 primary detoxifying organs, or the liver mostly and the kidneys. All drugs have to be detoxified. The body sees all prescription medication as, or pharmaceutical medication as poisons, toxins, whatever you want to call it. Is that what you were asking?
Right.
Okay.
That's what I was asking. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
And then they also, because of the toxins, the body has to address those toxins, and it drains a lot of energy out of the body and a lot of
that's energy, nutrients. Yes, exactly. And this is a hidden cause of nutritional deficiencies that nobody talks about, and a hidden cause of illness that nobody talks about. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. It's very ironic. For example, you could take a nutrient for your heart that will cause depletion of vitamin C and magnesium, which are important for detoxifying, and they're important for the heart. You can make your heart condition worse by taking a drug for your heart by virtue of the nutrients that are depleted following detoxification of your medication. And that doesn't show up on the adverse reaction list in the PDR. This will be completely separate, and you won't even know. You end up with a heart attack, and you won't even know why. And it could be you just depleted your body of vitamin C and magnesium and zinc and copper and all these other nutrients that are important for detoxification. So yes, they all have,
taking a pharmaceutical,
which is why, which is why people on medication need the Mighty 90 essential nutrients in the Healthy Start Pack even more than people not on medication. Everybody needs it. But if you're on prescription drugs, that's an extra burden on the body that you need the Mighty 90 essential nutrients in the Healthy Start Pack for. We should have the Healthy Drug Detoxification Pack, Doc. Think about that. Healthy Drug Detox Pack.
Well, I think that's a great idea. So we'll work on that. Okay. But so Pharmacist Ben, as we close, I just want to say one thing and get your input on it, because we have an amazing product that helps with the blood, and that's within the products that include fucoidan.
I was about to say Fucoid Z.
Fucoid Z,
yeah,
the
Fucoid Z is that's one of its most important, in my opinion. And my opinion is the Fucoid Z is one of the most important blood purifying and blood tonic nutritional supplements we have. Yes, it's important for the immune system. That's what everybody talks about. That's very important for the immune system. But fucoidan has an ability to spread out red blood cells, which tend to clump. The clumping of red blood cells, which is called agglutination, is a marker of toxicity and lack of oxygen and acidity. Red blood cells will clump up under conditions of blood toxicity. Fucoidan helps spread out. The Fucoid Z helps spread out blood cells, so the blood can move with greater facility, and the red blood cells can do their business, their nutrient and oxygen delivery business with greater facility, their oxygen delivery business with greater facility.
Yeah. So folks, you want to make sure that you get back with your longevity distributor, because those are the only place to find the products that we talk about on this program is through your longevity distributor. If you're not associated with anybody and you've not made any purchases, you're more than welcome to call us at 855-949-3377 or go to our website, DailywithDoc.com, and you'll find a store with the products there as well. And ask for Fucoid Z, which is the capsules, or Z
I like that better.
Comes in concentrate or powder.
I did see a comment here. I just want to correct real quick. I just glanced. Bisphosphonates will not induce calcification. They inhibit calcification. I saw somebody write that in there. I want to just clear that up.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And if I could get my co-hosts on the screen with me, we could not do this without them. And AJ just raised up his hand again. Go ahead, AJ.
Well, Betty's saying that she has an urgent question, and I just wasn't entirely sure what she's referring to.
Who was that?
Betty.
Betty, can somebody ask her to unmute?
Betty, you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a guest on. Her name is Sherry, and she has a son that's I'm not sure the exact situation that he's dealing with. She said she had put a question in the chat, but I was trying to just get her if she could unmute and ask her question. He's just a tiny little baby, but he's sick. And
you said baby? Did you say baby? I didn't hear that.
Yes, her son.
Here's the question.
Yes.
So Sharon says, I have a 13-year-old who has been through 6 neurologists, has had many MRIs, CTs, blood work, genetic testing. Timeline: 2 years ago, received 1 dose of a vaccine, immediately got sick, appendix ruptured, arm infiltrated right before. After surgery, he suddenly cannot walk. Another surgery was performed due to blood clots, still can't walk. 6 months later, he's having grand mal seizures.
Oh my gosh.
Started regressing, continues to have seizures. After each seizure, muscle weakness and stuttering.
And this all happened after the vaccine, after being vaccinated?
This is all happening after a vaccine.
All right, that's going to be a little bit tricky. Everything we talk about usually is in the way of chronic diseases. Vaccinations are not chronic diseases; they're acute poisonings, and so that's a little bit or they can be acute poisonings. So that's a little bit different. Have her call me, and I'm going to have to ask her a bunch of questions. If Rebecca, give her my number and have her call.
Yes, I will give her the number, or AJ, if you could put the number privately to Sherry, that would be fantastic.
Okay, I'll get it to Betty and Sherry. Thank you. Thanks, Ben.
Okay.
Thank you
so much.
All right, I got a bolt, Rebecca. I got another.
Yes, thank you, Ben.
Thank you, everybody. Nice to see everybody.
Everybody, let's give it up for Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
Bye.
Pharmacist Ben Fuchs, not just Pharmacist of America, but the universe. Okay, let's go.
Thank you.
Mr. Pharmacist.
Vote for me. Yes. Bye.
Not Mr. Universe, just in, body, but hey, that mind is a powerful muscle. Pharmacist Ben is just an amazing individual in and out. So thank you, everybody, for joining us here on Pharmacist Fridays with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs on Daily with Doc. We could not put this program together, and that just breaks my heart, Sherry. We are here for people all around the world, all different stages of life. And sometimes there are times where we get great results because we catch it in time. And it's not the products, but it's the nutrients that God created, that our formulators have been driven and guided to put together into formulations that the body can actually use and get great results with. Give us 90 days. And if you're wanting to maintain health, absolutely. It's not just that 90 days, because it's like putting fuel in your car, putting the oil in your car, the radiator fluid in your car, the brake fluid in your car, the power steering fluid in your car, or if you're electric, plugging it in to that electrical source. It has to be continually refueled so that the body, this vessel that we were given, will continue to thrive. Because you can drive on fumes, but then it's going to quit. And continually giving the body what it is designed to require, you can not just thrive or survive, people. I've been to that just barely surviving. I've been through that. I get it. I understand. I didn't think there was anything that I could do to get out of it. But when I found Dr. Wallach's message and I implemented it into my own body, I was able to see what it felt like to start thriving. And it feels good. It really feels good. And I invite you to do the same. I couldn't do this program without my co-hosts. We have Phyllis, who is helping and bringing in those questions, watching on the different platforms and letting people in, watching in the chat. There's just, eyes are going everywhere to make this work. And her eyes are just a pair that help do that. We have Marilyn, that if you're here live with us in the Zoom, you have that chat open. She's doing dictation. She's putting information in that chat so that you can take a screenshot or take a picture of it. No, you cannot, for the sake of privacy of the people in our Zoom room here. You cannot take and save that chat, but you can do little screenshots of it. She does such a fantastic job there. We have AJ, who has helped us get this message on all the different platforms, and each and every day getting it streamed, whether we're live or whether we're doing a revisit. AJ is the man in helping to make that happen. So yeah, look around, buddy. That's right. Thumbs up to AJ for all that he does, because he also found the benefits in the nutrition and wants to make sure that we get this information out. His heart goes out to those kids, those ones that he lost as friends in grade school because of a later onset of what would be sudden infant death syndrome, that cardiomyopathy, where a heart attack took them at such a young age, and it's nutritional deficiencies. And we have Ruth Ellen, who is helping to keep us all organized, our executive production manager, making sure that she knows what's going on and keeping an eye over the eyes. So thank you so much, Ruth Ellen, for doing that. And we have Albert. Albert is doing a great job making sure that people could come into the Zoom room. If we didn't have people letting you in, you wouldn't be able to hear the message live here in the Zoom and raise your hand and ask those questions. So Albert, you may not think that's an important job, but it's really an important job, buddy. So thank you so much for doing that, keeping an eye on the cameras. And thank you to all of the people who are joining us live. I see so many different health coaches who are investing time into getting knowledge for themselves so that they can then pour it out amongst the people that they come in contact with on their everyday or through their own coaching programs that they have put together. So I might just do a shout out to all of them, because folks, we can help ourselves, we can help our families. But that's like taking a seed and not allowing it to germinate. And as it germinates, then what comes out from it? You get a plant. And as you're feeding that plant, it then becomes a thriving plant that then gives fruit. You're hearing this message because there's fruit that somebody needs to eat. They need to hear this message as well. So share this message with those that you know, and especially those that you love, because that may be something that saves their life. My name is Becca Dukes. Thank you so much for joining us here on Daily with Doc. You are important, and you are an empowered individual who can take your own health into your own hands and help create your own positive health journey. We're here to help. Until next time, bye for now. Educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach.
educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and need not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and need not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach.